All the fame and fortune in the world could not have saved some of the best rap artists in the world from going broke. While some went broke due to bad record deals, others had a different story of mismanaged funds or lavish lifestyle. However, one thing kind of stays common among all. They evaded government taxes, only to get caught later on and pay huge fines. From filing bankruptcies to being evicted from their homes, you name it, and we have it. Today, on Realest Rappers, we bring you the list of the top 10 rappers who went broke. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to get notified every time we upload a new video. Number 10. Ja Rule. If you're a 90s kid, it's hard to not know of Jeffrey Bruce Atkins, aka Ja Rule. During the late 90s and early 2000s, this rapper dominated the charts with several top 10 singles, including but not limited to tracks like Always on Time and Mesmerize. However, his decline started when he was sentenced to 2 years in prison after pleading guilty to attempted possession of a weapon, after which the IRS was onto him with a bill of $1.1 million, and he was sentenced to an additional 28 months for tax evasion. If that wasn't enough, Ja Rule was again caught by the IRS as he allegedly owed $2 million in backdated taxes in 2019. Number 9. Nellie. Nellie saw great success throughout the 2000s, scoring 4 #1 singles and 3 #1 albums, including his debut album, Country Grammar, which has since gone diamond in the US. According to the RIAA, Nellie has sold a cumulative 21 million albums, making him the 4th most successful rapper in American history. However, Nellie started drowning in debt in 2016 when the government slapped him with a $2.4 million tax fine, which was substantially enough debt for the IRS to seize his property and assets. No wonder you don't hear this guy on the radio anymore. Number 8. Lil Kim. If there's one thing we're learning here, is that you should absolutely, unequivocally, and without exception, pay your taxes. In 2018, it was reported that Lil Kim owed the IRS over $1 million in back taxes, which is quite a lot for someone who was already in a hole. According to legal documents obtained by TMZ, Kim owed $2 million on her house and roughly $186,000 in unpaid legal bills. All told, she was roughly $4 million in debt. The bank later foreclosed on her mansion, and Lil Kim filed Chapter 13 bankruptcy. From once ruling the streets of New York, alongside the likes of the notorious B.I.G., Lil Kim now seems like a relic of the past. Number 7. Fat Joe. And wouldn't you know it, here we go again. Fat Joe failed to file income taxes between 2007 and 2010 and subsequently entered a plea bargain, reducing charges to 2 counts of failing to file taxes. In those years, Fat Joe had made roughly $3.3 million, resulting in a tax bill of $718,000. Luckily, Fat Joe paid the bill in time for his sentencing, reducing his sentence from 2 years to 4 months in prison. He apparently didn't learn his lesson, as he was hit by the IRS yet again in 2016, this time to the tune of just over $1 million for tax evasion in 2014. Number 6. Nas. Nas is one of the greatest rappers of all time, and his debut album, Illmatic, is often considered to be one of the most influential albums in rap history. Unfortunately, the IRS couldn't care less about reputation. They just wanted their money. While working out child support payments with his ex-wife, Khalees, it was revealed that Nas owed the IRS millions of dollars. But that wasn't his only problem. Nas was actually drowning in debt, as he owed $700,000 to his manager, $300,000 in back child support payments, and was ordered to pay Khalees $50,000 a month, money that he definitely did not have. His house was later repossessed by the bank as he failed to make payments on a $400,000 loan. Number 5. Xzibit. Have you ever wondered what happened to Xzibit after Pimp My Ride? Well, he went broke. That's what happened. Following the end of Pimp My Ride, Xzibit was making just about $67,000 a year, which is nowhere near enough to sustain a lavish lifestyle. By 2010, just 3 years after the show's cancellation, he was in the hole for $1.4 million. And like many of his fellow rappers, Xzibit was targeted by the IRS and sent a bill of around $960,000 in unpaid taxes. That certainly didn't help matters. He twice tried filing for bankruptcy, but his filings were denied on both occasions. Number 4. TPain. The sound of TPain was the sound of hip-hop in the mid-2000s. His partial rapping and partial singing style of vocals predated practitioners like Drake and Post Malone, and it just wouldn't be fair to give this guy for naming only a few songs that went viral across the world. He had too many. The artist said that he made around $40 million only from his music when his era of dominance ended. But well, poor investment decisions in real estate brought it down for this guy, and he says at one point he had to borrow money just to get his kids a meal from Burger King. Number 3. DMX. X gon' give it to ya. Unless you're the IRS, then X plans not to give it to ya. DMX enjoyed a long and successful rap career, but all this accumulated wealth came back to bite him. He has reportedly attempted to file for bankruptcy on the 3 separate occasions and claimed that he had absolutely no money and very little assets. In July of 2017, X was hit with a ridiculous 14 counts of tax fraud, as he failed to file his income taxes between 2010 and 2015. In that time, he had made over $2 million, and Uncle Sam wanted his slice. The rapper was later sentenced to 1 year in prison for tax evasion and was ordered to pay $2.29 million in restitution. From being one of the best rappers to being a movie star, it is really sad to see DMX couldn't handle his taxes. Number 2. 50 Cent. For 50 Cent, cash flow seemed to be endless at one point. He had sold over 30 million albums, made a reported $60 million to $100 million on his investment in vitamin water, had endorsement deals with companies, including Reebok and Right Guard, plus owned a successful record label and clothing company. The Washington Post estimated his net worth at $500 million in 2010. Things didn't work out for the star, however, as he was ordered to pay $7 million for his feud with Rick Ross, where 50 uploaded a sex tape of his old lady without consent on the internet. Moreover, the rapper filed for bankruptcy after a judge ordered him to pay $17 million for copying the G-Unit headphone design from another company. Number 1. MC Hammer. MC Hammer was living the high life in the early 90s, thanks mostly to You Can't Touch This. Hammer was worth an estimated $33 million, which he proceeded to blow on a massive entourage of 200 employees that cost $500,000 a month, a $30 million mansion, 19 thoroughbred racehorses, 2 private helicopters, a Lambo, and a private jet, among other things. He eventually dug himself a $13 million hole and filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. In 2011, Mr. Hammer was given an almost $780,000 bill from the IRS for unpaid taxes dating back to 1996 to 1997. It just goes to show that the IRS will always get you in the end, even if it takes 15 years. So before we sign off, remember, pay your taxes, or you might be the next person the IRS will be coming after.